Alrighty, we return once again to the Ironheart Merchant Company on Saturday afternoon, evening, morning, depending on when you're watching this. We return back to session 54, the sword or the shield. In the year 65,007, the month of the first moon, that is January, and the 29th day, starting about roughly around dawn as we return back. But before we get to that point, a quick recap of what happened last time. As the party had managed to, well, recover from the sudden surprise attack of Odger Stronghelm and his mini forces. Quickly, they went through the prisoners, finding out which ones would be loyal, which ones would be problems, and which ones were not really worth anything to them. With the quick realization and decisions made, the party had the poor individuals separated and later executed. With that, though, the party found themselves, if I remember right, well, shoot, God, I don't even actually remember what happened after that, to be honest. Because was last session short? I cannot recall.
Uh, we managed to deal with the army outside.
Oh, that's what it was. Yes, now I remember. Thank you for recalling. Yes, as the party was dealing with not only internal issues but the external problems of the enemy army and collecting up their items, the party would spend their time doing some interrogations, but otherwise treating with the Mithril Bone and the clan of the Large Rat through the heir to the Large Rat clan as well as the third son to the Mithril Bones. With the party collecting up the swords and then giving them over to the officers, the army agreed to disperse in the exchange of turning those arms into coin at wherever they could to pay off what debts they had for raising the poor soldiers that they did. With that, though, the party would then gather up the rest of the materials, make some plans for what they were going to do in the territory of Runeshold, and headed that way with Stan Standerson at their back and the rest of the ships dispersed. Now begins the hopeful, then began the hopeful next step of James's brilliant mercantile plan to solve this all bloodlessly. As Stan Standerson and the Ironheart Merchant Company, Iron Paradise? No, what was the name of the ship? Journey. That's it. The
The
Iron,
Iron Journey.
yeah, the Iron Journey landed inside of Rune's Hold, the large, giant, or massive skull turned into a city. Um, Coming through one of the two large open eyes and dropping in their courtyard. The party dropped down and went to meet with Magriel as he and one of his Griffin knights stood behind him, as well as a few other knights. And we cut to black last session. As we return back, the party, having not had a second to even think truly, having found themselves staying in this beautiful courtyard under the dome city, the castle itself not standing impressively beautiful, but very strong in its and sturdy in its design, much of a dwarven marble structure. I'm actually there's another word I'm looking for. Defensive structure though, most as a specialized design to it. But
Fortification.
yeah, roughly. Not the word I'm looking for, but close. But as we return back, James and standing in front of Magriel and his Griffin Knight, as well as three other knights, each of them armed to the teeth. A Griffin standing to the side as he watches on as James kind of steps forward to meet with these lot. Rolliman behind James, and Sindra at the top of the ship, watching down below with two of the with two of the oh shit. I'm trying to remember
Rough blood.
Rough blood. Thank you, God, man. My memory today is just ass. Um, two of the rough blood clan members watching from above. As you find yourself standing there, James, looking at Magriel, he stands at 5'10", his brilliant armor shimmering as it does, the mix of iron and bronze, a large lance kind of pushed onto his back, as well as two small daggers at his hip. His heavy, what looks to be almost plate, seems to glimmer as much as it does as the as the sunlight kind of begins to overreach through the teeth at the front gate, causing the light to fill the city. As he looks over at you, his simple appearance otherwise kind of glaring down. It's hard to get a read on this individual if he is angry, ecstatic to see you, or really anything, as his emotions kind of seem hidden behind his beard, as he stares looking at you, waiting for you to speak.
I assume you're, well, from what I can tell, you're Magriel. Um, mind if we have a chat?
Looks you up and down and sees one of the stands kind of step up behind you and kind of stand there quietly. Well, Macro kind of looks over at Rollman, kind of looks back at you and goes, "The courtyard's fine enough to talk in. Why don't you tell me what this unexpected visit's about?"
Well, your father trying to kill me, his death, the truth behind the matters, and me not wanting this entire country to collapse because it'd be bad for me.
And you've just come to bless me with your presence in the middle of a war, or a civil war amongst my family?
No, I came to give you assistance, because I'd rather have someone level-headed leading the Stronghelm clan over just about anything else.
He nods and goes, "Well, your words speak true at the very least. Though you do have something on board that seems to fret that you are not a servant of good by any means necessary." So he kind of eyes Syndra from down below and looks back over at you and goes, "But we've had stranger allies, and my beliefs do not keep me from bringing in those who stand with different views. As long as you'll respect my authority that I have taken in this city, you are welcome amongst its streets. As far as the speaking of my father, I have no indication or understanding of what he planned. All I know is that when I had returned to the city to check in, kind of like you see a little glimmer of amusement kind of pass by his face, and one of the knights, the one that looks to be the Griffin Rider, as their more leather armor kind of gives the appearance of, seems to also give a slight smile for just the simplest of moments before he continue or before my girl continues and goes, "And our Castellion decided to take power, trying to destroy the citizenry and kill everyone within it. So I stood up, killed him, took the city, and wondered what the hell was going on. Now I'm starting to understand." As he kind of looks you up and down and goes, "So my father attacks you, takes the entirety of the army, leaving us defenseless. The strange Castellion that had red eyes appeared in my father's court, trying to claim all position of it and royalties of it. And then suddenly my brother is also attacking. Quite auspicious, wouldn't you agree, young James?"
It's quite a set of circumstances, I can agree to that.
"I feel as if there's a grander game being played, and I don't like that, as it complicates my vacation."
Well, we also learned that your father had a deal with some form of demon as well.
"Oh, I know that part. Trust me, that I quite learned," as he kind of looks at you and smiles and kind of eyes Cinder for a sec. Goes, "Can the one up there be trusted, or is she an advisor similar to the one that served my father?"
She is of the Frost Fury clan, so her looks aside, she is trustworthy by me.
Hmm. I'd heard rumors that they had a male heir, but regardless,
Uh,
he
that succubus that's been going around cursing people got to him, so he became her.
kind of stops what he was about to do, kind of nods at that and goes, mm. uh, goes to open his chest pieces. You see it, you hear him kind of moving some straps as his arm goes to tweak it, and he pulls the front chest piece off the back, kind of still clinging comfortably onto his back through a secondary clasp system. But as he does, you see a huge indent into the back of the armor, and realize that this armor he is wearing had a somewhat of an illusion that was covering it a moment ago. And as you look at his chest, there is a good chunk of it caved in. He does not look like he is breathing out of almost his entire right side. As he looks on at you and goes, "The demon was taken care of, but unfortunately, we did not last through that fight well."
If you wouldn't mind, I can send for one of the healers that are in my employ,
Oh,
near
if it
enough
was
by to
only
hopefully
simple.
help.
He shakes his head.
Hmm. Well, I'm here to offer my assistance in the few ways that I'm able to. Given that a siege is coming, and likely your brother would have bought out the underbelly,
If there were thieves for him to buy, he probably would have. As he kind of like reattaches onto his chest plate, looking over at you and goes, "But those thieves have either been scared off upon my arrival, or I brought them in to serve me as soldiers, as they prefer to be paid in guaranteed legitimate coin than have my men cutting their hands off. You kill a few, and the rest of the rats tend to fall in order."
James will nod, because James agrees with the extremist approach. His isn't that extreme, though. Uh, but, well then, what about food procurement? You have enough rations to outlast a siege?
You know the best part about employing thieves amongst your ranks?
You don't have to worry about if you
Surprisingly,
have it?
he smiles at that and goes, and kind of gives a light nod and goes, "No, well, yes, but more to the point, enemies tend to need to eat and march, and it's really unfortunate when a group of thieves with, small bits of illusionary magic are able to walk up and either charm or just make the food look like it's walking away due to some ghost stories. Snowbeards are awful suspicious and very religious."
James will pat his holy symbol. I know and understand that thought.
When the dead start to walk about, you just don't question why your ancestors are taking your week's provisions, as he gives a wry smile.
Well then, what would you like from our end? I'll
If
be
he
happy to support you as the next leader, or whoever you decide to put in charge of Stronghelm.
kind of looks at you with a raised eyebrow and goes, "Did you have an intention of raising up someone amongst the Stronghelms to serve as a house heir?"
The only thing I was worried about is it destabilizing. With me traveling, I hear rumors and stories, and there's a bit of a danger coming in a few years that I'd rather have us be prepared for. I tried to work things out peacefully with your father for the same reason. Turns out he's been hunting all the lesser clans that he can to do as he wishes.
Yeah, diplomacy check.
Telling the truth.
That's why it's a diplomacy check.
Nat 20 for
Nice.
28.
Um, As he looks on at you, kind of nods, and goes, I'm well aware of my father's dealings. It was a difficult decision to make, but a justifiable one at the time. Not one I plan to hold up myself, as I believe there are better ways, but my father was never a long term planner, was more of a short term gains type of individual. So, as to answer what you can do for me while you're in my territory, as I will make very clear, I do not wish to become the head of this family, but for the time being, I will be taking the helm until a better heir can be found. And my brother that is planning to arrive, righteous, but he'll drive our family into a war that is not worth our investment, fighting ghosts and legends that no longer exist. So, instead, I think that while you're here, you are welcome to trade, make the citizen feel like things are going normal, maybe keep the mention of my father's death a hidden bit of information for the time being, and instead, when the time comes, after my brother is dealt with, you assist me in procuring a banquet for the city and the peasantry to celebrate a new trade alliance. As he kind of looks you up and down and goes, between the clan of Frostbuster, the clan of Ironheart, and the Ironheart Merchant Company, as well as the new christening of the Ironheart Merchant Company headquarters and the headquarters of the Ironheart clan inside the Hardhelm stronghold. You'll keep the name in honor of my father's death. Build a statue to him, honoring what he did for our people long ago. And you will rule it, or your heirs or one of your constituents will rule it as a piece of your territory, in a show of respect of our alliance and guaranteeing of coming to one another's assistance. Should you choose not to take up this offer today, then I would ask that you leave the city, forfeit the stronghold, and forfeit any right to my lands and any lands inside of the Snowbeard territories. But, should you choose neither, then you may leave here peacefully, as my war right now is not with you, but note I will take Hardhelm back, and I will kill everyone within it. There will be no peace, there will be no kindness. Once you turn my deal down, that is it. The rules of our war will begin. As he looks at you like dead serious, staring straight at you, and goes, "Now, dear James, I would recommend you take a few hours to speak with it with your constituents, your crew. I will have food brought to you if you do not have any, and I will have some of the local wine and ale that I've had prepared brought to you. And if you are concerned about its safety, I will, of course, come out to drink straight from the barrel before you do."
That is a lovely offer for the wine. I'm sure my crew will enjoy it. We have plenty of our own food, though,
He nods and goes,
as to not take from the citizenry mouth.
he smiles at that and goes, "Well, enjoy my hospitality. While you are here deciding, you are my guest and you will be treated as such. I give you the day to make your decision, but I recommend you take only a few hours, as soon my men may get hasty and interested and curious, and you know how thieves can be about items and magical merchants."
Oh, you needn't worry about that right now.
He
I'm sure
smiles.
we'll come to a quick decision.
He smiles and nods at that as he bows slightly to you, just a little bit, and then gives basically nods you off to let you leave.
I'll walk back to my ship. I will tell Stan to send a runner to the other ships because I do know they docked outside. I do
Mm-hmm.
not want them there because I have a feeling within the day, if he's only giving us a day, that the siege is going to start.
Could be that. Could be that he's more or he wants to get rid of you quick beforehand. Give me a intelligence. Oh no, actually, give me a sense motive. Actually, this first it fits perfectly to that.
Because
No, Syndra, you cannot help in this. Before you
I
get
wasn't
excited. Okay.
wasn't planning to.
I was gonna say before you get excited, because I know your sense motive is high too. Oh, now you don't get your nat 20. Oh man.
it's
Um,
10, it's
the only thing
pretty base.
what you saw, James, from the enemy army, it looks like it take another couple days before they're gonna get here proper. It's more likely of what he's referring to is that his men he probably doesn't have full command over, given the concern of a war going on. This is from your own personal experience. Sieges don't go cleanly, and people start to panic. If the men start to lose faith in Magriel, they'll probably turn on him real quick. So he's probably got to get you out of here to make it so that they're not enticed to use you as an escape route or to steal from you and set themselves as kings while they wait it out.
Or to turncoat to my side. And
It's not likely, but that is also a possibility, yes.
as I'll get back on the ship
Cause
and
you
lift
could, yeah.
Syndra,
Yeah.
I'll still tell them to be ready to take. I'll still send a runner to tell them to be ready to take off because I do not want them getting shot at or stolen from either.
Stan will send a message out as he runs off to the other ship.
Now let's talk about his deal. We didn't really want a headquarters on this continent for multiple purposes. What do you think, Syndra?
I mean, I don't think he'll really care if you cut a part of one of your rewards out of the deal. If that's not what you want. Nor do I think he'd care if you trade for something of similar want.
Yes, if I'm gonna have a headquarters, I'd rather it not be a fortress out in the middle of nowhere. It might be a day's walk from here, but mobilizing an army can take a week. So 8 days before anyone would get there to assist if something were to happen.
Would that not be the best place for a headquarters? Think about it. If you set watches further out, some way to send flares in, tons of time to evacuate, you'll see any attack coming probably a week before it gets there. Your people could be long gone and empty the entire fortress in that time.
It'd also be a good place for you to set up a small section of what you want to build of a druid grove, wouldn't it?
Oh, I'm not building a grove anytime soon. Not most basic average druid grove leaders are double my strength in the druidic arts.
Also, I apologize for the misgiving of the genus verde thing that's been going around, but the simplest explanation seems best in this case.
Doesn't truly matter. I like to describe it. It's kind of true.
Keeping a hard helm and keeping the name, I'd actually have to commission you, I think, for the statue.
I can make a statue. It's not that hard. I've done giant statues before. Might take a few weeks minimum, but
You didn't say it had to be a grand statue, it just had to be a statue.
oh well, no, it's going to be if I'm making it a centerpiece.
Fair. Plus, this would give me a place to possibly put someone like Vicaret for easy material acquisition and a place to research quietly without being bothered.
James, give me a profession merchant.
1 second.
Mm-hmm.
How merchanty are you today?
Man.
Not very.
Average merchanty.
Given the location of it, and this being one of the only port cities that are besides like Hemescus Strongport, the actual like other actual port city. This might be your best option for logistics as you start to think about. They have a place to build ships. They already have multiple shipyards. Noting as you kind of think about it, the logistics would also put you right outside of Runeshold and be able to use it as a good fallback location as you think about in case the Frostbusters got ever pushed. The Frosthammers would have to go through Runeshold before they get to you. And lastly, noting the only thing of importance here is that the stronghold of Harmhelp Hold, being the full name of it, it does have farmland and like territory around it that comes with it. It's not just the mountain peak. You'd just be like that would be the headquarters as you think about it. You could fully urbanize it, build a proper road through the mountainous terrain, and fully make it into a logistic headquarters to send out multiple materials to shops all across the world. And a last point is that outside in the farmland there is a lot of flat terrain, which would make a good place for an airship port, if you could figure out how to build one.
Not to mention the mountain itself will make a good one.
Mm-hmm.
We've seen that done already.
You could cap the top of the mountain and build them up there. That is also true. So, and it's big enough to where you could, because it's not. While it's strong or it's small in the sense that it's not deep. It is. It is still a wide and chode-like mountain. So.
Also, what all did he ask of us? Bring in food for a banquet after the fact, trade with the people during,
Mm-hmm.
and basically take over after?
Yeah, take over that strong. Oh, and then hold that stronghold for him. Yeah.
And then hold after the fact, which we would
Yep.
do anyway because the war would be over.
Yeah,
He's not asking.
He said he's going to put someone else in charge. He's just planning to take. He's only taking control for now.
He's gonna find. Also wants some assistance finding a proper heir.
Well, yeah, but that's fine. He's not even asking us to fight. He's asking to do what we were already gonna do.
Actually, he's asking to do less than what you were planning to do. This just gives you more freedom.
Realistically, because he asked us to trade, not just bring in food for free like we were going to.
So, I'll probably see as well if I can purchase a shop in town then while we're here. Set Hammer and Forge up in there, crafting things to sell.
I will put it to you with that profession merchant role, James. You may want to insist on the stipulation that if you get the city of, or if you get the stronghold, that you get assistance in either paying to build the roads, or you get a tax reduction on any tax you owe to Runesold in the meantime while the road's being constructed. Because that road will be the most expensive thing, but it'll also be the biggest boon for your logistics. For any ground
also
trip. Yeah, good.
Yeah, because it'll make any ground troop seem very. It'll get them there quick.
Which will allow for locals to trade with you, because it's not your merchants that are going to be traveling by cart. It's the locals who want to trade their goods with you to to increase your material list.
Mm-hmm.
So, we'll see about getting either a reduction or assistance in building some roads to it, and urbanizing it wouldn't be the hardest.
Is this a lone mountain, or are there mountains around this mountain?
So Runesold is kind of like in a valley between a couple of mountain peaks, and so there's a couple of different mountains, but this one kind of stands off on its own as one of the separate points to Runesold. So, and it is by itself in a sense.
So, from my understanding, there's like a valley trail leading through?
Yeah, so the way it looks, to fully explain it, is the mountain itself is this thick hill that kind of expands into a rocky mountain that kind of peaks up pretty high. It has, the back of it is still uncarved into, because the stronghold was only kind of carved into what was kind of a crevice valley into what looked like almost a claw, if you will, of the top of the mountain. And then the stronghold was beginning to be dug into the mountain, as you guys saw with the where the sewer pipe was set up, and then where they had found that small tomb. Of course, a year's worth of progression, not much they could do there. From there, there's one road going out of the stronghold that goes over a very open crevasse inside the mountain that seems to cut really deep, almost down to what you can see looks to be to the Underdark, because it just disappears and goes on and on. And with the bridge over, it opens up into what is a couple of basically hunting trails and goat trails that go off from there. You could maybe move two Snowbeard soldiers abreast, a shoulder, maybe. But otherwise, yeah, it's a narrow route, and then the farmland around it is is pretty far down around the valley. From what you could account, roughly with the merchanting, they make enough food to feed the stronghold and maybe 3,000 men inside the stronghold. It's a decent amount of farms, not a large population though. It's a couple of like small families that basically run everything.
If we took over this place, if everything went well, build a few watchtowers, some hidden spy areas, go from normal dwarven defenses to maybe sniping archers and similar to deal with a smaller population of fighters, could make
And
a minimal people
in,
needed fortress.
as well as we could possibly enrich the farmland, and so that we need fewer plots to increase the amount of people
Train
we have.
train a few druids to run a couple or assist in a couple farms could probably double the output.
James, do you have architecture and engineering by chance?
No, but I technically can.
I have a
Uh,
couple.
Cinder, you do? Go ahead
I
and
have a
roll it.
few. Not a lot, but a few.
If you have some points in it, yeah, let's go for it.
I actually had to start putting that one on different because I filled all my knowledges and didn't want knowledge at the bottom of my goddamn sheet.
Feel that.
And I was not moving everything down.
Yeah.
Oh,
16.
that's all right.
Kind of thinking about it as you and James kind of talk about this as you kind of head into the captain's quarter between the two of you, to kind of get some privacy between a lot of you, as the two rough bloods stand outside, kind of standing guard. Thinking about the stronghold and looking at the map that you guys had kind of designed by one of the soldiers before leaving, you're pretty sure if you put a wall at the bottom of the mountain, maybe about half a mile out, you could probably triple easily the amount of population space you could carve into and turn it into a completely carved city. Just do a tier city similar to what the Crystal Giants do or what you saw with the Frost Giants. It would be, or sorry, no, Cinder. You have no. Well,
Syndra's been with us to the Frost Giant lands.
have you? Yes,
Yep.
yeah, because you guys spent time in the capital. In fact, yeah. So yeah,
We did
actually,
multiple
with that,
Yeah.
with that in mind, the capital, Hrimperso's last hold, kind of thinking about the tier system, the tier design of the city. You're pretty sure, actually, in fact, you could probably maybe even do way more than that if you tiered the entire mountain out, and like left the stronghold at the very top of it. There's really a lot of options here. This is, well, it's a small mountain in the sense of it's not very like tall and deep. That could be fixed. So there, and you could fully put a city around it as you start to think about the platforms, kind of like the Chichen Itza, if you will.
Basically turning it into steps for farmland and living.
Cinder kind of scratches her beard, goes and gets like an ice chunk from her room that just basically spits out ice and snow.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll make like with ice shape a little model of what we could do and just look at James like, eh?
That would be pretty. I think that'd fit our needs perfectly for what we'll have here. And given the war with the dragons will kick off, I doubt someone will touch the Snowbeard lands if it's stable. So then we'll just have to worry about other people coming in. As I'll look to the world map and realize that there's a lot of people that still might kick our shit in.
Well, James, with the profession merchant logistical understanding, if this becomes a major focus of supply, the Snowbeards won't be able to let it fall. That's kind of what you're looking at this with, why you want the road system. You don't want to be the one who has to defend it. You want everyone else not to want to let it fall. And if it's the main focus of where the logistics of all of the Snowbeard lands are coming out of, that would be a really dangerous thing to lose during a war. So that's what you're looking for, and that's kind of what the idea is: slowly invest in roads and basically expand out.
I was like, I unfold a basic map with the like update like the Knoll territories and all that. I'll be like, unless something goes really wrong and the dragons decide to start another war, they literally don't have to start, or the Snowbeards decide to start a war. The worst we'll have to deal with, as I like point out, is like the people of Himkin's land. I don't know how tempered they are; they're all like slaves. Or the Knolls, who like to be raiding parties and attack people, both of which are land species for the most part. They don't have
Fair
airships. They don't fly. Hell, the Knolls are probably more like bandits than an army, attacking in hordes.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, plus we might be able to move at least some Frostbusters here to assist. I think it's the best deal we'll have for getting land here without a big fight.
We'd have to end this war soon, because all that building is going to take a lot of time, and I don't know how long this war is going to take to start on this continent. We could have a year, we could have 6 months.
Yeah.
I will say with the with that architecture and engineering role, roughly if you wanted to do this with like just to manage this within a year, you're looking probably maybe 50 million gold pieces for the amount of architects, masons you're gonna have to hire, people you're gonna have to bring in.
Yeah, Syndra doesn't want to finish in a year. She's just making the point of we don't know how much time we have, so we want to start now.
But I just want
And
I'm
we
giving
have
you a
more
kind
than
of
50
cost.
million
Yeah,
worth of stuff on the ship.
like
That's the
also
great thing.
we don't need to build everything at once. We need to start on the outer defenses and work our way in, which we could do with a lot less.
Correct.
How
Because the
much?
walls would be still. Oh, that's not including the walls. That's just for the design of carving the mountain into that.
How much
Yeah,
for just the wall to start?
like
Oh shoot, walls. Yeah, give me a minute. Let me pull that up.
because really, if we have good walls at the start, we worry a lot less about common bandits, which is the main
Walls with
concern.
city gates and everything.
Yeah.
Common
Yeah.
bandits are concern. So
Would not be a bad idea.
Plus, with the amount of cities we've been to, James has some ideas. Although some of them he got as well. He'll probably get more as he travels more, so it'll be interesting.
when we visit Himkins Land, we could look into other farming techniques just to really up the yield naturally. Because some other countries have a bunch of farming techniques that dwarves, being isolationists, don't use.
Yeah, there's also the fact of when we go to places like Normax Land and other places and other snowy places, like thanks to being in Velcomen, heated water. Well, what if we did that with roads to auto remove the snow, which we saw in Greg's Land too?
It's probably a little more ambitious, but in the long run, yeah.
Let me see. Give me a minute. Surprisingly, walls are not one of the first things they list.
Sorry.
Which, no, you're good. You're good. I just think it's funny because I'm like, oh, here, I'll just quickly go down to my list of things, and it'll be like, here is how you do walls, and I'm like, here we go. Cool. Oh no, that's for the stronghold's depth. Nope. Give me a minute. Still looking. Here we go. Okay. So it does depend on what you want the walls made out of. But we're talking roughly anywhere between a cheap 40,000 for like doing a small section of the wall. So we're talking roughly, if you have enough War Owens, that would be somewhere around 1,000,000 GP roughly. Yeah, for it to be done in a year. However, that will be a wall of force. If you're actually looking for stone itself to get the druids and such, you're looking at somewhere around like 5,000,000, and it depends on how tall you want these walls and how many towers you want.
Would it technically be cheaper because in a heavy mining country it'd be easier to procure large amounts of stone?
It's not the problem of getting the stone; it's the problem of getting the workforce. Right now, there's already been a civil war, and there's already another war kind of brewing. So finding
What if we
people,
imported the labor?
that's gonna cost you even more. That comes down to that. So
It'd only get cheaper if we basically perma hired them and brought them. That'll be if they're really skilled people. Because I don't know about moving probably thousands of people, masons from outside the country and moving them all in.
But roughly, for every foot of masonry that's done, that's just stonework, is 4,500 base cost. And that's for a foot. So, and we're talking anything bigger than that, you can start kind of going.
Tall wall.
So 30 times basically, and that's just for going straight up 1 foot by 1 foot. That's not thickness. That's not thick. So keep that in mind. You're gonna with most dwarven strongholds, you're looking at 2 to 3 layers of walls on top of then a walkway, and then another 2 to 3 layers of walls. So, and then you got towers on top of that you have to build.
So this probably just the wall alone probably cost me everything we currently have in liquid coin.
Yeah, roughly, because your fortress at the very bottom of it is about, I'd say, maybe about 4 miles wide at the base for the mountain, roughly, 4 by 4, roughly. I'll put a note to that.
And then we're going an extra half mile out from that, so...
You're not going to be paying it all at once. You're going to be paying it piecemeal as they do sections of the wall over
Yes,
time.
because they're not going to be able to build the whole thing at once. It takes a long time to put together a wall.
I'm going to pay you this section. I'll be back in 6 months. I'll pay you for this section. I'll be back in 6 months, and it's going to keep happening. So you're going to be making a bunch of money as you're doing small piecemeal payouts.
So
There we go.
yeah,
Just
not to bother mentioning, with the materials we have on hand, I could make tens of millions if I just were to go to liquidate everything we had on hand.
Mm-hmm. But as you kind of talk this over, looking at it, thinking about it, Stan Standerson kind of comes in, opening the door as he does, and sits down on one of the chairs and looks over at you and goes, "The crews are moving. They're going to be in the air soon, boss. If all goes well,
Thank
we
you.
should be capable of getting out of here within moments if need be. I've also let the frost giants down below know about what the circumstances are, so the crew's ready to move."
From the looks of it looks like I'll be taking over that Hardhelm stronghold.
He nods as he kind of sits there and looks and he goes, I'm just a spy, boss. I'll listen and sit back."
I can tell that with that comment, this one isn't the real Stan. Thank you.
As James has a quick twinge to his eyebrow as he realizes that.
So,
The real Stan's much more nosy.
what are you thinking, nephew? On
Well,
paper, it looks like it'll work out.
That's on paper. In practice, it's going to be a bit of a pain in my ass, but given with
That's,
where we are,
I
everything
mean,
kind of is.
that's city building in general, to be fair.
We'll have to hire someone good with architecture. I also might be able to pull people from the fiefdom, from the two fiefdoms we have, yours and mine, if we need to.
Oh,
I think it's a deal to accept in this instance. As long as I can get that tax break for making the roads or get their assistance in making it.
all right. Well, let's get this over with and have a contract written up.
Leave the contract to me. I'll write it up before we head back out there, because I trust Magriel not to do anything unlawful. This is at least somewhere where I'm supposed to shine.
As James breaks out some parchment and his good quill and ink and begins.
Rule mercantile.
I'll take. Do you also have the calligraphy skill by chance?
No, I do not.
Okay, so this will be just normal. Yeah. Then profession mercantile works.
As I pop a spell to help me make this really good.
Nice. Yeah, as you begin working on it, it's simple in handwriting. It's to the point. What are you trying to make sure it says?
I'm ensuring that the clauses that he named are in there. I'm not trying to be tricky about anything here, but I am putting in there the clause of for him to choose between with an initial signing of either a tax break until the roads are completed or assistance in building and maintaining the roads.
Okay.
If I do have to build the roads entirely, there will be. I'm not going to place a toll on them, but I will request a lesser tax for having done such a feat.
And who are you listing as your Castellan of Hardhelm Fortress or Harmhelm Hold? I like Hardhelm Fortress. It sounds better. Or Fortress Hardhelm. That sounds better. Yep.
Fort Hardhelm.
Yeah, there you go.
I'm gonna leave it blank currently because I'm gonna have to figure out who'd be willing to do it. I don't have anyone on hand.
You need to fill someone out. Getting this sense if you're planning to leave here, you're gonna want someone in charge just in case.
I'll look to Syndra. Who do you think we should leave in charge of it for now?
Mm-hmm. As I go through our Rolodex of options, which aren't a lot, to be honest.
Mm-hmm.
This could be the place to put your cousin.
Eider?
No, the one on our ship, the one on the Northern ship.
I mean, it would give him a chance to get his religion have a foothold, and he's trustworthy.
He's one of the only legitimate options you have if you want someone actually related.
I'll have to get his permission first, but Stan, could you send for Narnlaw to bring him by?
Stan nods and goes, "You could also just put in the contract that they're to be named later."
I could also just ask Whispering Sand to see what he thinks right now.
Oh yeah, would you do that, Sindru? Save some time.
I'm gonna cast it on Nar to not freak out immediately. This random level 1 warrior.
Yep. Who's having a good old time. Yeah, give me a second to pull up my notes real
Plus,
quick.
Nar, that'll give Nar a place to come back to and train him.
True.
Oh, it'd give him a full foothold to set up if you wanted to for his group.
Mm-hmm.
Let me...
On a continent that's about to explode and more, that seems really good
There we
for
go.
Nar, doesn't it?
Oh god. As you go to contact Nar, reaching out to him, your spell does not go off.
That's concerning.
As almost as if the magic seemed to connect for a second, but as if it was broken almost immediately.
I'm not mistaken. I have to make sure on the spell because I think that means because I don't think the recipient can break it.
Outside interference.
Outside
God.
interference. We might have to go check on Nar.
Son of a. I'll just put to be named later, then into the contract to.
Okay. As you do, Stan kind of stops, kind of like hearing this. He goes, sits back down as he watches this. As you finish filling this out. So, to confirm, you agree to take hold of Fortress Hardhelm, meaning you'll pay taxes on it equivalent to whatever is owed. You'll take responsibility for the lands, maintaining them, ensuring the people are taken care of, yada yada, so on and so forth, of protecting and maintaining the castle and the lands. On top of the fact that you will also support him until he finds an heir to put in proper charge of Runeshold. You will name an heir to your position over there, and then lastly, you will help him with the banquet, of course.
Yeah.
Because of the citizenry thing, you would not need to add, because assumedly you are here to just basically go make money anyway, so you are going to go trade with the people anyways.
Yeah, but and then with the section requiring his initials of either a break on taxes until roads are completed.
Okay.
Or assistance in completing them.
Okay. Gotcha. Alright, so as you finish this up, kind of dotting the I's and crossing the T's, signing your name to it, James, and putting the Ironheart Merchant's insignia on it as you melt some wax down onto it and kind of push your ring into it, looking up. Syndra, did you finally figure out what happened with your spell?
No. Can I check if this is actually one of the stands? Because it's kind of weird that my spell doesn't work, and this guy's making any reason to not go check on Nar.
Oh yeah, go ahead and give me a sense motive. Ooh, okay. Alright, give me a moment.
I feel like there's about to be a fight that starts in my goddamn captain's quarters.
Dude, your
Hey, man,
captain quarters sees more combat than anywhere else on this ship.
Cameron, if there is, you better not be mad at me for shooting him the moment this starts.
If you explain afterwards and help pay for repairs, I don't care.
Pay for repairs for saving your life. Fuck you.
It's a nice office!
Yeah, and you could be dead. This guy could be an assassin.
Besides, I said help pay, meaning aka do what you're already doing, help earn money.
And you're trying to sense if this is the actual stand?
No, if this is a stand.
Okay.
I don't trust this in someone that just showed up.
They are not, and they are not hostile towards you yet. They actually seem friendly for some reason.
Okay.
He's
So
about
James,
to
if
do
you
his
want to
Morn
go,
check.
so James, if you want to go, make sure all the crew's all right, get the contract ready, go meet with him. He didn't seem super happy to see me. I'll catch up.
I'll take the rough bloods with me then.
Of course, of course.
As James kind of
As-
walks out, wondering a bit of what's kind of going on, but kind of seemingly understanding as he kind of just shrugs at this,
I
realizing
already
he's
knew
got
this
much.
wasn't a regular stand, so
Having much more
leaving.
important stuff to do anyways, James walks out, accepting this is not his fight to get into. As James kind of closes the door behind him, kind of looking at the doorknob, contemplating unlocking it for a second,
I lock
deciding not. Oh, you're gonna lock them in?
Oh,
Alright. That's a choice.
They have to teleport out or break the door. One of the two.
Alright, as you lock it, the two rough bloods kind of look at you, kind of confused, as both raise their eyebrows, in
I
surprise.
just wait for them to follow me.
Yeah, they'll follow after you as you continue you head down the ramp and into the castle. As we jump over to Syndra, as you hear the click of the lock, Stan just looks at you and goes, "Wow, he was really a lot more quick-witted than I thought."
he can be. He's surprising. So, obviously you're not hostile, or I would have attacked on sight.
True.
So who am I talking? Who am I talking?
Someone who doesn't want to be known, clearly. As he gives like a smile.
Well, clearly, but as I look at the locked door, I kind of want to know.
Oh, you're gonna freeze me if I don't tell you, aren't you?
It's kind of my job. It's kind of.
Kind of stands up and begins. It kind of puts his hands behind his back as he like locks one hand around one wrist and lets the other one kind of sit free as he kind of begins to pace. And he goes, "Well, who I am is a little hard to explain, but what I am is a little easier if you'll allow me. I represent a group called Yalamos, Singers of Death. Probably not someone you are familiar with. Would you like to roll a knowledge nobility or a knowledge history?"
I have the same in both. We'll go with history.
Okay.
Isn't my specialty. Not exactly. No, definitely not my specialty.
Yeah, I mean, given the last couple of days, your hackles are on high alert here. You're not ready, or you're not letting this thing go if you can help it. And so as you kind of watch this individual, nothing kind of comes to mind as you hear this name. It does seem familiar, like you should know something, but nothing clicks though otherwise. But as he kind of continues, he goes, "And so, you represent a family that is somewhat of a, not an ally, but not an enemy. And in these days, that may as well make us the best of friends. Shower buddies, if you will. You scrub my back, I scrub yours. Because otherwise, how will the demons manage to play their games?" As he like turns and kind of comes to a stop as he smiles at you and stares.
Uh-huh. Which demon follower do I have the pleasure? I really hope it's not the one we met recently.
"Oh, no, I am no one so barbaric. God, no, my clan, family, people I serve, whatever you wish to call it, similar to yourself, if you will. They are... Well, you haven't met one, but one of your compatriots did. Are you familiar with the individual known as Dutz Conwyn?
Surprisingly.
Your friend,
Not surprisingly, yes.
Perfect. Your friend James there has met him, I believe, as well in person. The individual will be a long descendant of another branch of my house I represent. And thus, I am not one of those simple star-zonde bastards. I come from a more refined palate, one that did not partake in that ugly sacrificial war. No, we rose differently, like yourself, in a similarity during the true bouts of combat of the great wars of alignment.
Uh-huh. Kind of leaving out why you approached here, now,
Oh,
me, and this city of all places, really.
yes, I do apologize. I get so caught up in my own. It's been so long since I've met someone who I could talk to that didn't, or who was able to figure out who I was and didn't just assume I was the true individual. Usually, most just leave me be, assuming I'm a dangerous observer. So, I do apologize. My interest in you lot is more of what keeps getting you drawn into everything and more of an observation. I was curious what caused the stars and spiders to renew another century long war once again over someone not really significant, if you will, to the world. I mean, don't get me wrong, you and James and this Rollerman fella, as well as that Melvin individual, have your parts to play, but more of a footnote than the glorious chapter header of the Times, if you will. I could not figure it out, and I was curious. So I thought, well, you have a fellow that turns himself into the same amongst his crew, perfect disguise fodder. I would learn, watch, and find out what was going on. Oh, and to your question that's burning in your head while I'm not worried about your friend Nar and his compatriots, that is because he has been taken by one of the stars, and there's very little that, honestly, I care to do about it.
Of course he has.
In good news, so has the main fella who runs the ship next that you have planted next to you. The stand fellow you guys called me.
Uh-huh.
Fuck.
The same star, or...
No, but same place. It seems there's a dealing going down. An offering, a small little elven, like, Genasi boy that seemed to scream a lot. A company of very unique individuals in fine and shining armor, and the almost champion of a lawbearer. It's surprising that such creatures could be offered up as such simple pawns, but truly, James must be a brilliance that is even beyond my own understanding to gather such resources like that.
You know, wasn't close to any of the three. I don't really like people touching what's mine, even if I know I can't do a lot in this situation.
Would you like to make a deal for their location?
You're funny.
Cash shrugs and goes, worth a shot, to be fair. Neither of our houses would probably allow it. That much camaraderie is not looked upon fondly ever since the alignment issues. You know how it is.
So what? James is just gonna find out in the next day or so, after you're gone, that Stan, his main and only spy, is just gone.
Well, not gone. Waiting for you at a specified location. Seems the stars have an interest in you a lot more than anything, which has kind of spurred my own curiosity, because James is nothing but a mere mortal from what I can tell. I mean, rising as he may be and quite the capable individual, he still is not much that's special. A little crazy for worshipping such a foreign concept, but you, though, demonic in all sorts, powers rising, that would make sense, but they seem interested in him. It's curious.
I'm curious. Humor me for a moment. What does all of this have to do with the weird undead chieftain of the elves? Him and his odd coatl he seems to be friends with,
You know,
even though they're opposite on the ends of the spectrum.
it's funny. When I recall way back when that happened a few years ago now, a year ago, yes, roughly now, there was a loud screech, a city that fell, a collapsing castle, and groups going on their own, ships flying away, heroes being paraded, but evils left undone and untouched, from my understanding. Allowed for that poor creature to open the book and unleash what was and what will always be the true power of our people. Passing down this championshiphood just like those gods that think they're on high. And thus, because no one dealt or no one killed him or stopped him, now those powers were allowed to come to the mortal plane in full, rising their own champions once more and giving birth to a new clouded age, hopefully. As he gives a wry smile at that. And your friend James, well, he is expected to be the advisor to the next rising lord of all. A new destiny lord, if you will.
You know I can't let a new Destiny Lord rise.
I doubt you even know what that means yet.
All I know is it gets in the way of what I want. Because what I want, I don't think they'd be a fan of.
Maybe, maybe, but I have humored you. Now, if you may humor me,
Of course.
what do the stars see in James?
I have guesses. I haven't been with him for the longest time, but he's odd. His fate almost seems to fight itself. Supposedly, his future self talked to him at one point. Sometimes he's extremely lucky. Sometimes his very luck makes him walk into death traps. And he both has demon blood, but can also attain divine power. He's a walking paradox, if you will.
Truly. Interesting. Well, that is quite fascinating and does explain a little bit. Maybe I'll stick around and watch how this show plays out. Of course, with your leave, I don't look to cause any harm, of course, in this involvement. Just merely observe the curiosity that is this individual.
Uh-huh. How long do you want until I have to tell James that his spy is gone and he realizes that you weren't really who you said you were?
How about I bring back that stand that you were looking for in exchange? You do not blow my cover, as I assume the visage of a crewmate that will probably die in the coming months.
I thought you couldn't do anything about the people taken. Contradicting yourself?
I can and I cannot. I can if I have a motivation to do so. I have no motivation to do so of my own will.
Hmm. Was it only Nar taken from that ship, not the others?
I have humored you plenty. You may take my deal, or you may offer something else in exchange.
I don't mind your deal, but a caveat: you get in the way, and you'll know you are, and the deal's off. Simple enough.
Understandable. He kind of holds
Can't
his hand
exactly
out.
keep you hidden. Yeah, as I go to shake his hand, can't exactly keep you hidden if you try to stab James or get in my way. Be really awkward to cover for you.
My dear friend, if I seeked James's death, it would have been easier to have walked out this room and done it then. So he nods and smiles at you and goes, But it seems I have a job to do. This Stan Standerson must be returned. I will be back by the time that you and James return from speaking with Magrel. Oh, and I do recommend you go with James, as Magrel is expecting it.
Was planning on it. This will kind of get up.
as you stand, you can see you look over at him. He seems to speak in an abyssal tongue, writing or taking his finger and kind of almost moving it in a circular form in front of him as these arcane runes of red coloration begin to pull into almost out of his finger and onto just space in front of him as a what looks to be a perfect circular opening opens up, and you can see what looks to be a beautiful and lush jungle with red fruits on them. What looks to be a couple of creatures all along the tree that seem to have glimmering golden and red eyes as they look through as he kind of steps through and closes the thing behind him.
As I get ready to teleport out of the room because the door's locked, I kind of mutter, "Stan owes me for this."
As you muttered that, teleporting, what are you doing, or what are you using for your teleportation? Are you just going to the ice bucket out on the ship?
Yep.
Maybe.
No, I
There's a
respect
reason
it. I respect it.
There's a reason I wear shoes made of ice now. It lets me warp wherever other ice is.
And as James just keeps a bucket of snow on the ship as just a personal in case of situation. All right.
No,
it is a
it's
component.
canon that Cinder went around and he got this spell and hid little chunks of perma ice, essentially.
It's
that's right.
Little blue ice flips in random corners of the ship that I just warp to.
Yeah, as you warp out of the out onto the deck of the ship, standing on top of a barrel that's been nailed to the thing or to the top of the ship at the request of James, because it kept falling off. Your little perma ice chunk kind of sitting nestled inside of it. As you kind of get out of the barrel and get down onto the ground, a few of the crew kind of look at you with confusion, but don't continue on with what they're doing.
Don't question my barrel.
And time to catch it. Don't question my weird bucket teleporting. Time to go catch up to the game.
All right. As you head down the stair or down the plank, and we cut over to James. James, as you enter the beautiful marble halls of the stronghold, there are statues and paintings every few inches of different stronghelms, snowbeards, hill giants of note, individuals that all look quite capable. A couple of weapons here and there with stories, some skeleton remains, a couple of taxidermied beasts. One where you see an open, what looks to be pillar set aside for, and with the name inscribed of the Golden City, but yet an unplaced object as of yet on its pillar.
I had a pouch of blood from that thing. Huh.
As you kind of head through, the two rough bloods kind of standing behind you, both of them a little cleaned up as they wear their some leather that they've kind of scrapped together and put on, walking beside you. As you continue down, you can hear as Syndra begins to almost slide down past or coming down the very surprisingly slick hallways of marble or this white and black checkered marble. The carpet itself, thankfully, not laid down as Syndra comes rushing up behind you before you can manage to get to the first doorway into the keep itself.
Business taken care of then?
Yes. Something to tell you after our meeting.
Every time you say that, I have a feeling it's going to give me a headache.
It will. That's why it's after the meeting.
All right.
Then one of the rough bloods leans over and goes, "I bet it's a sex thing." And the other one just kind of giggles a little bit.
Slowly turning to them.
Oh, he wishes, as I keep walking.
That's my aunt.
You see the one that's still giggling slightly get elbowed as they continue to follow after you.
God.
Kind of quieting themselves and putting on what their very serious face as they try not to giggle every few seconds. You can see it on their face like children. Very, very muscular and strong children. But as you kind of pass through the halls, they are surprisingly empty. There's not many turnoffs as you continue down. There's not many guards where you would expect. A few doors here and there that seem to be completely unblocked. As you look in one of the rooms that you pass by, you can see what looks to be a beautiful, almost sitting room for guests to come in that were for waiting. As you look in, though, it looks like what was once a beautifully furnished room now has a couple of chairs and tables that have been broken down. They're being tossed or fed into the fire pit that seems to be kind of set to the side of the room. Some skewers of what looks to be clearly rat meat being kind of cooked over the fire as one of the Snowbeard maids kind of works away at it. Though, as you kind of get a look at her up and down, James, she looks well fed and very well taken care of. Thinking back to it, realizing Magro kind of looked a little bit more gaunt than he should have for a noble of his capability. As you kind of follow through, um, continuing past, you finally come across the large doorway where a single guard who his plate, very dented and battered and beat up, does not look to be in good shape, but definitely looks battle tested. His thick, snowy white beard with little black tips at the end, kind of glittering through the dented and simple bronze helm. His blade slightly out of the hilt with one hand on it. You get the sense this guy's actually might be a decent warrior, given his actual capability and how he's holding himself. But as he looks to you, kind of waiting politely, kind of stands there quietly.
I'm just looking for Magro. I have an answer for his offer earlier.
Looks at the guard, looks you up and down, and goes, "And who might you be?"
My name is James. James Drag Ironheart. I
Ah,
am.
young boy. As he kind of sheathes a slightly unsheathed sword and looks at you and goes, "Good on you. I heard about you taking the fortress. Man, I didn't think a young lord like yourself would manage you, especially after all the rumors about you being book read."
I have excellent help when it comes to that.
Hey, no lord doesn't. We peasants make up the true working force of these armies. As he kind of gives you a smile, and you can see like half his teeth are missing.
And that's why I prefer to make sure the common people get what they deserve.
Good. You and Matter will get along just right. He won't eat anything until everyone else does, and he's been losing weight. We can't convince him to eat otherwise. Maybe you can do something about that.
Uh, Sindra, how much Smilodon meat do we have left?
I'm carrying 50 pounds on me right now.
We'll get him to eat something.
He nods at that and goes, "I'd appreciate it. The general's a worrywart when it comes to most of combat. We've already killed the other lord. I don't know why he's freaking out about the army that's just running around. It's like a chicken with its head cut off." As he kind of lightly starts to push the door with both hands.
Wait, does that mean they've already killed his brother?
That's what it sounds like.
Seemingly. Sounds like.
Sense motive?
Yeah, give me a sense motive as he shoves the large door that creaks as it pushes open. The heavy metal frame around the wooden door kind of cracking as it does. What are you trying to gather?
16. Is he referring to Magrel's brother being dead?
He definitely does seems to be blatantly assuming that the Master Bedapa wore on Radger, the last shield of Stronghelm, it seems to be dead.
Well, damn. Okay, moving on.
As the doors open up, you see as Magro kind of is talking to two other Snowbeards who are in decent, what looks to be well-designed iron armor. It's definitely higher rank material, but it's still well battle-tested as a random cat attacks James's mic. But no, as you look over, they seem to have a map of what looks to be the surrounding areas as well as the city. A couple of what looks like chess pieces kind of set out with different designs on them. A couple, what looks to be some griffins, a couple of what look to be simple shield bearers, and then a few what look to be armadillo riders, from what you can gather as you walk over. A larger map kind of set on a long table off to the side that looks to encompass the entirety of the Snowbeard Kingdom, where you can see all the smaller strongholds kind of listed out and shown, as well as all the small towns. Similarly, a few pieces kind of shown about that map. As Magro kind of sees you coming in, though, he kind of looks up at his men, waves them off as he picks up the plate of food he was eating off of and walks over to you and goes, "James, oh, yeah, perfect timing. Please have this is roast boar. We managed to catch some of it before the siege started up. Enjoy, please, as he kind of shoves the food towards you.
I'm well fed. You need to eat. You're worrying your own men.
Oh, they worry on a constant. I eat plenty. There's just a
They
lot to
follow
plan
what their
for.
leader's example is.
That is true, and they fight well.
In more than just battle.
Maybe. He kind of takes a bite of the boar and kind of looks at you and goes, whatever. While I eat, here, come follow me. Let me show you what's going on so you get a good understanding. I'm curious if maybe you and your compatriot can shed a little light on the things I'm learning on the battlefield. So there's a lot of information that's coming in. It's kind of very confusing. Um, as he kind of walks you over towards the map, the local map, and goes, so, well, the army up here, as he points up to a large mountain to the north of Runeshold, he goes, this is Lord Radgers, my younger brother. He has unfortunately found himself killed, which fantastic for us in this situation. Wasn't by my hands. His men said that they had seen a strange creature that knocked them all out, put them to sleep, and that was the last thing they knew. And then they woke up, and then, well rested, but shocked and surprised, a single banner of a spider laying about on the ground, and, well, unfortunately, my brother's head on the pike of the banner.
I prefer not to mess with the spiders nor the stars.
Do I need to go
It
get the
invites
board?
trouble.
It looks over at Syndra, looks back at Syndra. Did you say that out loud?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yes, I'm just saying it to James. I'm not hiding it. This board's a thing.
Yeah.
If you are, then you should probably give him the warning you gave me.
Could also just explain, It's up to him, though. After all, the information is life-threatening. More than normal, really.
Well, if I understand everything correctly, at some point, well, in between the fall of Sarazeki and now, the group of spiders seem to have infested their way into every noble court of the many houses and clans. Clan Large Rat is coming to me asking for debts owed not for quite a while. I have the other clans coming to me making strange requests and mentioning advisors that they have serving them as suddenly requesting us to do things and go to action against other noble groups and families. I think that the time of trouble is well beyond, and the potential of a civil war outweighs whatever concern to my life there might be.
Oh, my friend. The spider rabbit hole is so much deeper. It's a worldwide conspiracy.
He nods and goes, alright. So he kind of claps his hands, and a couple servants come out and kind of set the two maps out as a couple of other servants bring out tables to set to the sides of this large hall. As they put the maps over there, replacing the pieces exactly. A couple of more servants come out with a really long map and lay out this global map, and you, for the first time, can see like Krikek, Draffica, it's not the dark continent proper, but it looks like a large circular island that's just kind of is clouded over with illustrations. But Olympia and the Cracklands all in one massive map, and Salmica and Celsica look to be more researched and even further back as the expeditions are shown on the maps. As you look at it, this world is massive, and this map is huge. As you look it over, as he looks at it and goes,
James getting ready to zone completely out because the moment they start
No,
talking about this.
No, don't worry. No, don't worry. You're not going to learn much in depth here.
he goes, now show me on this map where all my enemies might be that we need to plan for.
Here, I pull out a quill and just go, may I? Like, gesturing to the map.
He nods and goes, feel free, I can have it cleaned.
I make 6 separate arrows with numbers 1 through 6 at the small fort that we were at.
Mm-hmm.
I make a 1 2 through 7, not 1 through 6.
Okay.
Because Kaiju was not there.
Correct. Yeah.
I put a 1 directly at Utham's capital, and I write interested question mark. I put fake 7 at the capital of the Snowbeard lands, and then I look at him and just go, "This is just the tip of the iceberg. These are the specifics I figured out." And the weakest of all of them could probably get close to fighting a world leader on their own. As I tap the 7.
He nods and goes, I've been in discussion with my compatriots from the Civil War. They had told me about fighting a giant lycanthrope apex monster down at south. Great fight, fantastic for everything that went on, but they'd mentioned a strange figure by the name of Kaijin arriving to assist them in the combat. They also mentioned he fit the similar description to what they had seen on the most wanted list. Given what I'm gathering, I assume that's who this one fella is.
I nod, I tap the 1, and I just go, I'm confident he could cut down a world leader before they knew what was happening.
I understand I've had the unfortunate meeting of an individual similar of that. Okay.
Meanwhile, as well at the fort, there was 2 other individuals.
Although, a few of the 7 are public knowledge, even though they're not known to be part of. This one right here, as I point at 6, you've probably heard of the Hag Hunters.
He
Hag Hunting
nods.
Order.
Yes.
Have you read the document on them that was put out?
They had a few members that were notable amongst them. Ein,
One
Goose.
one named Ein steals people's lifespan by looking at them.
Yeah, I thought that was just a flavor for the book.
No. She actually does it. She was there.
Magro kind of looks over at James and goes, and you deal with this on the daily?
I try to avoid them, but the 7th keeps prodding me.
I like to think I'm good at my job of keeping the other 6, at least somewhat at bay, or not interested in us.
He nods and goes, well, I might be able to fill in some information for you then. This fake version you're talking about, we figured out what their name and what they are. The Zonde are a group of 8. 7 individuals who are powerful on their own, all equal in power but powerful in different ways, and then a central head of their family that seems to be quite more capable than really anything I've seen before. I guess that would be the equivalent to this Kaijin fellow. That, thankfully...
Heard that word before.
He looks over at James and goes, really?
As James will pull because he's been keeping the crystal axe, the ancient one, on his hip, lifts it up and shows it and sets it on the table calmly.
Oh no! So now you talk about it, but before, no, the Zonde is just a powerful monster. It's not something insignificant.
I didn't know what it was. I apologize.
Well, I've got even worse news for you then. I found out that from what we've discovered from cluing this together, Zonde seem to have joined up with this faction. So what we were able to depict in the ruins and designs were some evil dragon creature, dark, black. Honestly, looked like it just was the darkness in the sky at night. To be
King.
clear, huh?
The king.
Could be. He nods.
He who conquered all during the Clouded Age.
Not sure, but
the first giant king, the original.
The only words I saw in there that I can tell you that I could understand was the word destruction was written up there, and something about the Zonde serving destruction.
Oh, that's even worse than I thought. Alright.
He nods and goes, I don't know what destruction means, but as I've never heard of a god like this, I imagine it's some ancient power they're trying to awaken, or, God forbid, unleash.
What's vague of these factions I picked up, without going too in-depth in speculation, we have the 7, all the people related to Kaijin, as he is public knowledge.
He nods.
Not sure entirely how they're related. They don't all seem to be siblings, but in some way they're from the same
The
group.
second is also dead.
Yes, the second is dead, but I'm sure he'll crop up at some point again. We have these people tied to destruction. I'm not entirely sure what their deal is. I don't think they outright seek the destruction of all despite the name, but I can't be sure. I don't know much.
He nods.
All I know is there was some kind of sighting of this or something similar as I circle the ice mountain of dead bodies out in Newtham's Kingdom. Now, I wasn't there, but rumors fly.
Interesting. As he looks at it and goes,
We
"Hmm?
we have the stars. I don't really know much of anything about the stars, to be entirely honest.
We only know the
Oh,
name of one of them, and I'm a little scared to say it.
all I know is they are directly, diametrically opposed, as I make a connecting line, to the seven.
He nods.
And they're apparently hard to tell apart from each other at times. And then we
Okay.
have minor players, Crump Senior, other powerful people playing around in the shadows.
Yes, I'm familiar. There are other adventures in the world that are problems. But they're not
Oh,
our problems today.
and of course, as I circle the clan belonging to Alfred Stone, he seems to be trying to get involved in all of this in some way.
Strangely, Alfred's been the only one that I've been able to keep open diplomatic relations with. My envoys have been sending couriers back and forth. We've kept up in discussion. I'm to marry one of his daughters, most likely. A kind of
He's
an allegiance between the two houses.
he's kept course, but he's not in country.
He is, as of last I saw him. He was here only a month ago.
He shouldn't have
That's
been.
odd.
Yeah,
Either way,
I've went to visit him and his family. His son and I treated for the evening, and he was kept up in his study, but I could still hear him above. I don't see why he
James is
would not
going
be.
to smile. That's not likely to actually be him. That's most likely an illusion, then.
You would tell me that my ally and a friend of mine would lie to me?
I believe that he's on your side, but I also believe that he has many, many, many things to do on every continent, and he doesn't want people to know he's running around the shadows, as he get killed by, as I make the arrow from the thing circling that clan to every single circle I've made. He seems to be opposed to all of them.
Interesting. He nods and goes.
Oh
He
no!
did mention recently about arming ourselves and had talked about getting a bunch of items to the men. Huh. I thought it
It
would
would be
just be
smart
worry.
to.
Now that, of course, comes all with the coming war that the entire continent is about to be broiled in, whether we
Uh,
want to or not.
yeah, tensions are rising amongst the continent. I'm curious what the first spark's going to truly be now that certain lords are starting to get hungrier for conquest and people are starting to come into their own.
Many months
And
ago, when we were
that's.
there, the stone giants are already prepping for war among every other clan.
And there's small skirmishes on their border with dragons already.
He nods. I'd heard that the Ironheart Merchant Company, though, was planning something amongst the crystal giants. Kind of curious, surprised to see you here, to be honest.
We've never been to the Crystal Giant lands.
We weren't planning on going anytime soon either.
You've never been to the Crystal Crownlands? You sent one of your cousins, one of the Frostbarks.
No. I don't even have the full seat of air yet.
Hmm,
I don't think we've ever talked to a Frostbark.
The
interesting.
only druid I've ever spoken to is, as I gesture to Cinder,
I probably misheard
in depth.
when I was meeting. You know how rumors fly. Let me see
It
this
wouldn't
deal.
surprise me if someone's using my name, as I'll pass him the deal.
No, kind of reads over it a little bit, looking it up and down, and goes, "So you want a break of tax? That makes understand or help. Um, hmm. I can give you a break of tax. I'll make more on the tolls from them coming into the cities afterwards. Let's say no tax for the first 5, 10 years. Let's do 10 years. Make it easy for you. Assuming as long as the roads are still being built. Well, I'll assume any bit roads that you are helping construct between the strongholds to be part of that deal. Is that acceptable?
That works for me.
He nods and goes, "Perfect. Maybe you'll fix the damn roads we travel on. I'm tired of traveling by carriage and my ass hurting by the time I get to Venka's hold," as he signs the document.
Oh, I'm going to be working on artificers to improve carriages as well.
Shh. Good luck finding enough
Why
these days.
Why do you think I go by airship?
He nods and that. Beautiful piece as well. Not many of them in the country. I should introduce you. I have a compatriot in town who does work amongst the shipping yards. Brighton BC Emporium has done great for us.
The moment he says Brightby, because I hear it, James is going to grimace.
There's some bad blood between the Ironheart and Brightby.
Oh, well, my youngest sister serves amongst or one of my younger sisters. God, it might be my youngest at this point, as he kind of thinks for a second. Anyways, Anuka, she works for him. Is there something I should know? Anuka's a good girl.
Brightby himself is just an individual who will leave a foul taste in your mouth if you can realize his true intentions.
If he moves in and there's not competition, he'll monopolize everything, let no one else in,
And he'll buy out anyone he can.
then he'll start marking up prices.
That would explain a few things. Well, unfortunately, he set up shop here. God, year ago roughly. He hasn't expanded much at all to my knowledge. We did have a few shops of his that he had set up, a few armories and weapons smiths that had opened up, but unfortunately the Stronghelm family, as much as our citizens, are not big on competition, and fires happen all the time.
James will smile. It's hard to crack some dwarven stone.
Beaten at his own game, huh? Interesting.
But with that, as he kind of signs the contract, and one of his servants comes over, brings a parchment, casts something off it, and copies it perfectly onto the parchment. Kind of looks at you and hands you the original copy back to you as he takes the copy for himself and goes, "You are guests amongst the Stronghelm territories. I want you to understand you are welcome to the fullest honors of a noble, and I would like to recognize you officially as House Amescus' current, or not House Amescus, House Stronghelm's current leader and current heir apparent as the clan of Ironheart." As he takes out a little ceremonial dagger from his hip and kind of whistles, and a few of as you see the doors begin to open, a few soldiers begin to march in. Not many with them having weapons. Many of them looking a bit more ragged, but most holding like plates of food or like glasses of ale. As they kind of step in, about 40 or so begin to fill the like end of the hallway. As he kind of looks about and goes, "Let my men be the audience," and I do apologize, they're not washed well, as they start to kind of laugh at that. And he looks over at you, James, and goes, "Here, kneel. It's a lot easier if we do this proper."
He's telling me to kneel?
Yes.
James will kneel.
As you kind of kneel down, he kind of looks at you as he holds out the dagger and kind of lightly
Sense
taps.
motive.
Oh, give me a sense motive.
Doesn't trust
I'm
the
sorry, his dad just tried to kill me. This is...
Hmm?
Mild distrust, I think, is acceptable in this instance.
All his men are also in the room, and there's about 40 of
26.
them.
Yeah.
Are you trying to sense if he's going to kill you?
I'm sensing for hostility, yeah. Bloodlust.
There is not a scent of bloodlust towards you that you can sense. He does not seem to be hostile, mostly friendly, in fact. Though you do clock that he catches your cautious look on your face as you look up at him with concern for a moment.
I will apologize afterwards, as I'll just stay calm.
As he kind of lightly taps your head with the dagger, or the side of the dagger, and goes, "And James, I recognize you as blood of Stronghelm as he holds his hand out and cuts his hand with the blade, letting some of the blood as he crunches his hand drip down onto your head. He goes, and I recognize you officially as part of the clan of Ironheart in the fortress of Hardhelm, forever protected by the Stronghelms. As he gives a light bow and kind of leans forward and goes, now you can stand up and say something.
James will stand up and say, I thank you, Magrill, and I will do my best to live up to any expectations you have. As I will. I'm guessing he had to deal at least a point of damage to himself to cut himself.
Nope, he did not.
Oh well, fuck. There goes the one thing I would do to make this at least look nice.
As you kind of look at him, kind of saying this, he smiles and goes, looks to his men and goes, "Oh, James, don't worry. I plan to hand this whole thing off to you as soon as I get the chance." As he looks about at his men, and they start laughing at that as they raise glasses.
Oh, don't do that. I still have to deal with the other two portions of my family. 1,000 yards there for a split second.
He nods and goes, "All right. What the Ironheart clan now recognized under my family, you'll pick a sigil, figure all that crap out later for yourself. I want your opinion now as I appoint you as my head advisor. Syndra, I don't have a mage. We don't at the House of Stronghelm have a head mage position, so welcome to head druid of the Grove of Stronghelm. As he lightly taps you on the head and goes, "May your position be blessed." Whatever, something along the lines. The men cheer as the men seem to cheer and take another drink.
Fuck it, I have the right to the druid grove now.
Looks over at James again and goes, "Now, with that in mind, I think we need to plan our battle strategy, as Venkos isn't going to sit around, and the large rats are already on their way."
I did say I wanted to speak with the head of the Lord Rats, but given how vindictive his son seems to be...
How? Curiosity, how much does Stronghelm owe?
He looks over at you and goes, "You want the true number, or you want the with the interest they're asking for?"
The true number. What's owed now if it was paid?
He kind of starts to write it out and goes, "Around 5 billion gold pieces." Now, this is over 3 generations, 1,500 years nearly. As he gives a wry smile at that, as he knows fully he's bullshitting, and goes, "It's not at all, but in actuality, it's, my father had an expensive bit of taste, and, well, campaigns don't pay for themselves, you know."
No, and that's why I made a full offer to your father to work as a merchant for him and be able to pay for his war machine that he loved so much.
It's actually interesting you mentioned that. Large rats seem to have a dealing with someone else that wanted you out of the picture and offered to excuse our family's debt if he... Well, he kind of looks at you and goes, "You probably understand the rest."
Yes, and it'll be very nice to speak with them face to face so long as I don't get shivved.
He nods that and goes, "Under my protection, I doubt that they will manage anything. But I think I have, as a precaution, already invited the young Oros Goldhammer himself of the clan of Grey Rat towards for a meeting, if you will. I think that it might be a good idea to settle a few things here."
Oh, it'll be very wonderful to talk to them. One of my old compatriots got me in fairly well, I do believe, with the Grey Rats.
James, give me an intelligence check real quick.
Because dear old Alar did say that they talked to the Grey Rats.
Mm-hmm.
14.
Well, 2 things. One, James, you never mentioned you had intent to, or an interest in bringing the large rats here.
No, I said I wanted
Secondly,
to meet with them.
As you realize, if he knows that, that means either he has a spy amongst your group or he planted something on you.
It's normal.
Nobility games or nobility games.
Mm-hmm. But as he kind of looks at you, he begins to wave off his men as they start to head out. The doors close behind them, and he looks at you and goes, "So, if I'm understanding with everything correctly, Odger, my father, managed to take a deal with the clan Large Rat to get rid of you from a third party that we don't know. We have stars probably trying to do something of resurrecting some sort of evil creature, hopefully not a god, in both Utham and our lands. Interesting that our
Well,
cultures are similar in that case.
they
The good
also are taking people to the Elven territory.
ah, right, James, about that.
Yes?
Nar's gone.
Son of a bitch!
Magro kind of looks over at you with a bit of shock at the language, and then kind of looks over at Syndra.
Nar was a very good compatriot. He was also one of the probable champions of a god.
That
A
is
very lawful god.
worrying. I agree.
Pardon my language, but they keep nabbing people. They stole Rollman's child fairly recently as well.
He nods and goes, "Good to know, but it looks like Syndra, you have more to speak to it."
It seems they're prepping some kind of ritual, although there's nothing to do about it. After all, the ritual is all the way over here, as I go all the way to Greg's Island. Into the bird. We know where they are. The problem is, well, we'll be walking to our deaths.
That then sounds like it's a Greg problem.
These are creatures that could probably fight apex monsters and come on top head to head. Maybe it'd be a coin flip if they win or not, but even that's concerning.
He nods. Then he goes,
Yes.
"Could gather an army to go and kill them."
They're at a point of power where I don't think an army would matter.
Yes, it depends on which ones are there. If presumably all 7 stars are there, is it right? Like 7 numbers in a different font, kind of, than the Morin 7.
Mm-hmm.
And if the apex monster who lives right here, as I circle where a little tower is there.
He nods and goes, "Good to know." It's weird. The design looks somewhat, almost like a poorly drawn half a star.
Yeah.
Wait.
If I had to get a certain number of powerful sacrifices, and apparently the ones they've taken so far are good options.
He nods and goes,
Although I don't know what the connect. I mean,
"I might be fishing here."
Yes?
It looks at you and goes, "I might be fishing here, but that kind of catches my curiosity. These places, there's been sacrifices and attacks, and they're lining up in almost a ritualistic design, one on each continent at a very specific point. That's quite strange."
Royce, what would it take to realize a worldwide spell circle?
Give me a spellcraft check, or a knowledge arcana.
While he rolls that old circle, they did another circle that covered almost the entirety of this continent, although that one failed, to be fair. We thwarted that one.
He nods. And goes, "There was also speakings of one that happened after an adventurer had, him and his group had, secured the pseudo-troll lands and managed to do some digging. A few months of, holding there, and then suddenly they see a big glimmer of magic and basically decided to run for it. Wasn't worth sticking around, as they put it. They took what they had found and left. The Thrycreans started getting sacrificed left and right." As he looks at you and kind of circles the capital of the pseudo-trolls. As you get 15 in spellcraft. James, you've never seen magic of this level of category. Doesn't look like it's a spell circle. It looks like a strange kind of twisted line now as you kind of line them up. Almost like a really ugly looking reverse Z.
So he's drawn up part of the star. Can I finish the star to see where they're most likely to hit where they haven't yet? If I just draw it out all the way?
Let me think. Here, give me a second. Let me see what kind of skill check would be good for that. Yes, but give me a second.
If we can know where they're gonna hit before they do, that'd be great.
We'll call it a decipher script in a sense, because you're trying to decipher the location based on the line. That works.
Would you like a big boost?
Do what you want.
As I pat you, you enjoy an additional plus 20.
Where a pirate is free.
This is about to be a big number then.
As I do cast a spell, saying something under my breath, and pat him.
You do catch James. Magrel's eyes seem to glare at you, and for the smallest and briefest moment, his hand twitches for the other dagger on the other side of his hip.
I'll look to him. We're both jumpy, but believe me, I don't want to fight anymore.
He nods. With a 49, Syndra, as you begin to draw up the map, it, as you looks to be the next location would be roughly the capital in Fickfee's lands, the new capital of Blood's End up on the northern continent, and lastly, Gem Cutter's Port.
We should probably warn Greg.
I'll get Stan on that when I talk to him next. He has a direct line to Greg.
Yeah.
I'll also get Greg on possibly getting the people back from the elves, as he usually has a pretty grand standing military force.
As you draw this design, though, you realize it's strangely not a circle. Syndra, it looks like a heart. And as you begin to realize, remembering the Jakix being and the other Morns being all very charm and eye and glimmering focused, something begins to click in your head that there might be a large charm spell going on. Maybe, as something comes to mind, a worship spell? Spell to force people to worship you? Maybe to remove worship? Who knows? If you could charm the entire world, you could change a lot of things.
Cinder just stares at it and just goes, "Oh my god."
Do I realize anything with my spellcraft once I see the completed design of this?
Give me a spellcraft check.
New one. You need higher. Come on, man. You got this.
I'm trying to be support.
Nope.
James, you're not a bard, and diplomacy, charm spells. Nah, man, that's not your forte. You never really were interested in all the singing and dancing
The
that bards
biggest
did.
charm spell I got is friendly face.
No, no idea. But as you look this over, kind of catching the attention of this, it almost seems like or what looks to be drawn is a giant heart on the map.
They're gonna charm the entire planet, or at least everyone in the circle.
That many people.
They could make them do anything.
Worship, kill themselves almost, depending on the strength of the spell.
That girl nods at that and goes, kind of like how the demons supposedly did it for the Slauds.
But bigger. For every.
Stares at him and then. Well, we are dealing with what are demons, essentially.
Although, with where one of the points, and I'm concerned, I don't know what's going to happen. As I put a little arrow to Fickfeed, they're part of a group that I know basically nothing about. As I roll out their document under organization, it says 12 Lords.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what their deal is. I don't know what they do. I don't even know who the other 11 supposedly are. But they joined sometime after the Fey Queen was killed.
Magro kind of shrugs and goes, not familiar enough. I don't recognize the name of the 12 Lords, nor did I hear about anything about them. But if a dragon was to be attacked, I mean, that would spark a war at this point, the tensions being so high. Whatever race that did it would be blamed for it. Volvasi wouldn't stand for it. He's lost too much face amongst his dragon lords as is.
With Yaki rocks are running to giants, Blood's End,
Oh,
and other problems arising all over the continent, and him having to kill a couple.
if they don't know that we realize, well, we've done it once, we could maybe ruin the circle again.
What would
Preferably
that
over here.
take?
As I point to the Thrycreen area. If some company went there and saw the circle and no one was there, that means it's not being guarded. They're not expecting it to be messed with.
Meaning we could make an alteration to disrupt the total control.
A tiny alteration to a circle would entirely change the effect. Could even just turn it off.
He nods. As Margaret looks at you lot and goes, but not many people want to take on hordes of Thrycrane and chance their crew being killed.
No, but it also doesn't have to be here. We could go set up to mess with one that hasn't been set yet.
He nods.
By altering circumstances in Gemcutter's port, we could make it so that they can't use that location.
If Greg knew far ahead of time this was going to happen, it hasn't happened yet, he could easily make alterations to make sure the circle was impossible in his land. Or at the very least, they'd have to kill everyone in the country, which would spark everyone to stand up. I mean,
It would stop them from moving under the radar.
Mackerel nods at that and goes, now, my only question is where to the stars and what are they doing in response to this, if the spiders are doing this, or vice versa if that's the case. And why are they so invested here in the Snowbeard courts?
That's the question I would like answered as well, as the red cat is...
there's one thing they wanted that we learned a while ago. It doesn't have to do with the lands, but it also kind of is related to James. For a false quest we were given, they want a noble Jin for something.
That is true. They wanted that and information on the Clouded Age.
King Uthgarum had requested my father to bring him something recently. As Magro kind of like steps away from the table and like goes off to the side, opening one of the doors, and you see his luxurious, massive bedroom as Magro walks in and kind of goes over to a chest and begins opening it and digging through it and pulls out this what looks to be almost a huge mace that like dwarfs him in size as he kind of walks it over, being made of this blue, deep blue, almost ocean blue, glimmering metal. As he walks it over and kind of sets it onto the table.
Does this metal look similar to the ingot that Senior showed me?
I'm trying to remember what the ingot was that Senior showed you.
It was the same metal that was supposed to be that Grandpappy talked about.
Yes, this is the Riverine metal. Name pending for later.
That's Riverine, name pending for later.
It kind of like as he sets it down and looks at you and goes, "Uthgarum requested this."
That's anti-Morin, well, anti-spiders and star metal.
You know, it's quite expensive as well. We found it in a tomb that was buried under ruins hole. Cost us, God, I don't know how many people in that expedition.
As it should. It's only found. I mean, well, it's not found on land from what we've picked up.
It was guarded by some creepy creature with the ability to bend my father in half, as he described it. When my father founded the territory here, the creature was buried in the tomb. All I know about it, from what he's told us, was creature broke out when they went in. He was the only thing in there. That's all they need. That's all that area needed. That tomb was well defended by that creature, as he killed every snowbeard and giant that went on that expedition, except for my father. And my father walked out with a broken arm, missing 2 feet or 2 toes on his left foot, and half of his face almost completely destroyed. Took us months of healing magic to get him back, and pulled this mace out with him. It's the only thing he had left of his gear. Even his armor and clothes had fallen off.
It seems that while one group wants a giant circle, the other just wants to kill the other group.
He nods and goes, "Do you think the stars, or do you think the spiders plan to take the country and kill the other group?"
Mm. From what I've picked up, a little bit of conjecture, it's the closest I have. If I'm right about the stars being the ones whispering in Uthgarm's ear, they've been here longer, and the spiders came here in response.
Kind of nods at that and goes, okay. If that's the case, that means that everyone who's gained an advisor or individual has come to our courts in the last few years are probably a. Yeah. He nods at that and goes, that vacation I was looking forward to in Gemcutter's Port is getting further and further every day.
Well,
When it does come about, I have a nice place for you to stay.
maybe not. We could foil everything here, and this is going to sound treasonous. I'm advocating for it. It's merely an option. If someone else ruled the land, everything they've done the last few years would crumble. Or if he could be brought to his senses, either really works.
Magrill nods and goes, well, you'd have to find someone who's capable of ruling. Not myself, of course, and I doubt James is looking to be tied down that heavily. You have someone else in mind?
We have options. It's more going to come down to circumstance of, is this going to come down to a war, or is this going to come down to the noble families uniting to force them off the throne? That's going to give very different choices for who takes the seat. If the nobles unite, we're going to have to choose a noble. I doubt they're going to let us pick otherwise from one of the clans.
Well, if that's the case, then why not just gather the clans together? It'll take a few months, but if we gather every influential member, we do like our ancient ancestors did. We meet in a single room. We discuss, we argue, and we put forth those who are recommended for the throne. We make a clear challenge to Uthgarum and his clan. Should they refuse, all the clans should rise up if they are in agreement. Should they not, well, then the clans themselves that don't will find themselves slaughtered by those that do, and then the civil war will kick off anyways. If everything goes well and the Vinkos recognize the ancient rights, those who are recommended for the throne will step forth, and either their champions will fight or they shall fight. And the one who comes out on top wins. Easy enough.
Probably the best we have. My only concern is, what do we do if these two, as Utham and Og, either try to shoehorn their way in or get forced to by Uthgarum? I don't know how out of wits Uthgarum is right now. I don't even know if he's under his own control.
Utham cannot afford currently to take a fight with the Snowbeards, especially with us so far away. And unfortunately,
Og won't do the same.
Well, Lord Og Brightwing himself is dealing with an issue with the Crystal Crown lands. As I mentioned, the little news I'd heard earlier about the Ironheart Merchant Company had caused a bit of a stir and a dispute over there. Borders have become a bit more dangerous these days.
Sounds like I'll have to eventually go settle that problem if it comes rearing its head towards me.
I see that we're seeing more than just a Krikek war, huh?
He nods and goes, I see tensions across all the continents blowing up, as I hear rumor that the Samog clans plan to attack the Gloom and join the Closen in a focused battle to wipe them out. I have a feeling the coming years are going to be quite dangerous, and so the less blood we have to shed now would be our best bet.
Which is exactly why I think it'd be best to handle this as quickly as possible. Months should be good. A year if we absolutely must. And fortify. The Snowbeards can't afford to get drawn in without being prepared into a war for Keck. We won't win.
We'll barely scrape by as we currently are.
He nods and goes, I'm in agreement with you on that, so I say we put that forth. We explain to the house heads our perspective. A war would weaken us, and the dragons are hungry. We can't afford any chances of infighting, and I will make a request for a summons of all the house heads to discuss the leadership and future of our country.
There is a minor problem for that as well, that Frostbuster's clan head did perish.
Then a new one will be sent or elected within the coming days or months. I recommend, while we wait
They
for
don't
everyone
know.
to gather here, you head back home and confirm your position with them.
While
I believe that'll be
while
a good
James
idea.
while James talks to them, I can try to talk to the other lesser clans around that area. I might be on the slightly younger side. I'm still technically a clan head of the lesser clan.
He nods and goes, well, I'll take whatever I can honestly get.
We can try to make sure we unite, and then after that, depending on how things go with Frostbuster, I'll go speak with my uncle, who's currently the head of Treasure Horn.
Do
You
you
know,
just want heads, or do you want other powerful or influential snowbeards as well?
those who are capable will be drawn regardless. The interest and intrigue tends to bring all of the rats out of hiding.
Very well.
But for now, I'll make the announcement, James, as well, that you have been recognized with this letter. I'll have this put together. In the meantime, well, then, over the next year, I expect you lot to help out. Deal with what you can with the locals. I'll handle the military perspectives and consolidating our power here. Take care of the stronghold, reinforce it, set it up, and get prepared. And deal with the Frostbusters. While I house and dine the other nobles that'll appear and enjoy the headache that'll come with that.
Would you like some assistance in preparing at least the arms and armor? I gesture to the battle worn armor he's wearing.
Well, if you do not think I will be taking every advantage of your well known kindness and honesty, you are surprisingly lacking as a merchant.
If
My
you can
good
provide a
friend,
forge, I can leave two very capable blacksmiths to handle repairing your arms and armor.
oh no. My good friend, I will be sending a logistical nightmare your way once you get back home to your stronghold while you stay here. You will be preparing for me as many arms and armor, and you will start gathering me lines of mercantile trade. I want you to tap into your network and start moving logistics and start sending food and cheap goods that are good quality through every city in the territories, and make sure it's heard that it's the Ironheart providing them. Anything to get the populace on our side before the lords show up, and anything to get them speaking about you at every tavern.
I can certainly handle that.
Get
Good
our
to me.
trade moving. Our small party could handle some quests to help towns, help areas, really foster some goodwill.
He nods at that and goes,
Roland himself could handle most quick, simple jobs within a day, given the right setup.
meet with the lordships that are mayors, barons, your bet upon Warone, who serve amongst your ranks for the small towns that call you lordship. Do what you can to consolidate what power you have for now, and let's get ourselves ready for what is going to be a blizzard in the coming.
Well, I've already been through a red blizzard. Let's hope this one stays white.
He smiles at that as he looks to you lot and goes, well, for now, I have a city to get organized and men to plan everything out with, and a dinner to complete. As he looks down at the half-eaten boar leg that he was chewing on, looks at you and goes, "Enjoy the city while you're here. I'll summon you before you leave. I'll send you a copy of the letter I'm sending out, so you know what to expect when people arrive."
Then I will leave only after I receive that.
He nods. And it kind of looks to you as he kind of smiles and dismisses you with a handshake and kind of waves you towards the doors.
I'll head out.
I'm gonna set a bag of sand on the table and say, just in case, so I can call if need.
Kind of looks at you, raises an eyebrow, and nods, and goes, "Odd
I don't
adventures."
question Roro and magic at this point.
He kind of sees hearing James, kind of nods at him, and goes, "Odd adventures." All right. He kind of ties it off to his belt as he kind of walks, as he looks at you lot and kind of waves you off.
Yep.
As the two of you head out the door, the guard kind of standing there, kind of smiles at you once again as he nods, holding up what now is a half-filled cup of ale to you, James, and goes, "All hail the Lord of the Clan of Ironheart."
Thank you.
He nods and cheers up his glass as he downs it and kind of smiles, closing the door behind you lot as you head down the hallway and head out towards your airships. We're going to take a quick 5-minute break for those players who need to run to the restroom, grab a snack, or anything of the like grab water, and we will be back in a quick moment. We thank you all and see you there. We return. Thank you all for the quick patience of a second for those watching at home. As you head out onto the ship, though, your crew kind of standing as they are, you see what looks to be Stan Sanderson kind of standing there, a little bit more broken up. His nose looks to be twisted. He's got a pretty bloody black eye. His mouth is very much swollen. But he kind of gives you a light smile as he lights a cigar, kind of takes a light smoke off or puff off it and blows it off to the wind as he looks up at you. Another standing right behind him that looks a little thinner and a little bit shorter that seems to wink over towards you as you walk over towards your ship. The real Stan, as he looks over at you and kind of smiles and goes through his very puffy lips, goes, "I thank you, James, for apologies, I've been punched a few times in the throat," as he kind of fixes his throat and goes, "But I appreciate you sending a rescue party."
Sad I couldn't get everyone out.
No, but I know where they're at, and that's what we needed.
Oh, they're in the Elven lands near Greg.
Yes, he nods.
You're gonna be sharing that information with him, because we can't fight that.
Alright, he nods and goes, "I can see what I can do," as he kind of rubs his nose a little bit and goes, "Very least I can get back at them."
Oh, we're gonna do some great things. Syndra will also inform you of some other things to tell him.
He looks over at Syndra and goes, kind of gives a light nod at Syndra and goes, "Understood."
We need to get everyone we can, including what remains of whatever crew Nar has. We get to have another meeting a lot sooner than I would have liked.
Well, I'm sorry, James, but I did just send all the people off. So it's gonna take a few days, probably about a week. Probably a day, most likely. But something to consider. It'll take a minute, if that's okay.
That's more than okay.
As he kind of nods and kind of looking at you through his swollen eye and goes, "Alright, I'll go and reach out to him." As he kind of rubs
How
his
damaged does he look?
He's busted up pretty good. He's not coughing up blood, but
I
he
hand him a
doesn't look
2d8 plus 4 healing potion. I have a few of these left.
Kind of takes it from you and kind of looks at you and goes, "Oh, here, I appreciate it, James, but I tried something like that already. It didn't work. Seems these wounds have to heal on their own."
Keep it just in case. I have a feeling you might get hit again soon.
My line of work. It's always the case. Some ladies smack real hard.
I get to go tell Hammer and Ford we're changing gears.
He nods at that and goes, "Good luck, Captain. I'll head over." And kind of turns and starts kind of limping away back over to the other ship. The other stand will follow you two up onto the ship with the Rough Bloods kind of following shortly behind them. As all of you kind of head up onto the main ship, James and Syndra heading down below the main deck and into the barracks, heading over to where James's room is as the door is still propped open. Hammer and Forge kind of working away as they look up at you as you walk in.
Hammer, Forge, we're going to be helping out the common people for a good while. Farm tools and basics.
They both just kind of give a nod and a chitin finger up as they begin setting down the projects they were working on and begin to flip over towards as you look over, seeing them kind of carving some cheap metal into stone or into scythes.
Perfect.
Make sure they're quality, as always. Not that you can't make anything
Alright.
that's not.
James, how do you want me to build this lesser clan collection, as it were?
Well, there's a lot of lesser clans all spread throughout. You could try to unite them under just to become a single clan unit. That'd be enough power to make a house.
I doubt I could get them to go with that. I might be able to convince them to make a coalition of sorts until the problems of the
A
country are
council.
solved. Maybe.
Go with.
That one will still be possible.
I think you should go at it any way you believe is best. I took a back seat when it came to nobility before, and I'm not as well practiced as I should be, but
Problem is, I have to explain to everyone that I'm Cinder and I have to go by my real name. It's gonna be annoying.
well, would you like to be dubbed a part of the clan Ironheart?
No. I'm almost certain being part of the clan is part of our ancestral item that I still have to go find.
That's fair, but
You can always convert us to a branch of the Ironheart later.
that's true as well. Then, while you're out, while you're going through, do your best to spread whatever you can. Your stone carved tools should be just as good as some metals.
What, you want me to play assistant while I'm out and about?
It'd spread the good name and get people talking about us, would it not?
I can do some basic druid work, help with some crops here and there, I suppose.
That'll work. Who knows? You might find some people with potential.
Maybe. I have to build a grove now. Maybe I'll get lucky. You can convince the Frostbarks.
Yeah. And then I have to go deal with that as soon as that letter gets here.
Mm-hmm.
I'll look to Cinder. Am I still being scryed upon?
Yeah, just look around him.
Yeah, give me. Do you have true sync by chance?
No.
Oh, okay, then yeah, I need a spellcraft check.
Yeah. I wish I had. It's a little out of my part.
Liz, I'm still on Monday. I've still got Monday spell capabilities in my head.
No, I get it. I wish I had that.
Right.
Look, it would be on Nada, which I do have to go talk to Magrel about in a bit, but
45. Damn. Um, as you kind of look about him, there doesn't seem to be anything that's scrying on him, though. Notably, I mean, the individual of the other Standerson kind of sitting there in the chair, just kind of listening and watching as you lot talk about this, or sorry, kind of following along with you lot after you guys have kind of come down to the barracks of the ship. He seems just kind of keep beside you. He's the only other one that seems to be kind of paying attention. Otherwise, Syndra, no scrying spells that you can tell.
As far as I can tell, no one not currently in the room is listening.
oh, damn. I was gonna hopefully use that.
Well,
Oh well.
that should be concerning to you. Why'd they all suddenly stop scrying on you? You had like
Oh,
three.
it's horrifying, but if I let that distract me right now, I'm gonna lose my edge.
Yeah, recall.
But that'll get a message to there. Melvin will be able to get Zebra, which will get to Utham. So if there's few people that can disrupt the spell, it'll be those two.
Although, if those two get involved and the enemy notices, I think we'll be looking at an immediate all-out war.
Oh
Those
yes,
two,
but they two also have more discretion than I do.
yes, but those two seem to get very angry very easily when someone hurts their people.
Well, giving them the warning to prepare against charms might be useful.
Not saying you shouldn't, just giving fair perspective.
Aside from that, I will also probably have to go through a Glitterrock, as I'll look around for him.
Looking around, give me a minute to pull up something of my note. Who? Wait, Glitterrock.
Glitterrock?
I said Glimmer at first because I can't remember which one it was.
You talking about the wait? You talking about the
Glimmerstone.
you talking about the one
He
shot character?
no,
Oh, okay.
not Glitter Breeze. It was the high rank the commander that joined us.
Oh, oh,
Oh,
fucking
oh, that
okay.
guy. Oh, that guy.
Got you.
I
I was
have
Okay.
like,
his name hit
who?
listed here as either Glitter Rock or Glimmer Rock, and I was like, I can't remember which
No,
because his dad was a
yeah,
fire
yes,
roll.
Glitter Rock is his name because it's a play on one of the fucking fire giant things. Yeah.
Yeah, so I was right. Thank
Yes.
goodness.
Sorry, I had fully forgotten that I had written the character up because that was a character that was added last minute. So yeah, no, okay, got you.
Because he would know the men best, so I have to get him.
Yeah. As you go, kind of looking about for him, give me a spot check. Yeah, his family name is because he was Officer Glitter Rock. Yeah, here it is. I got it. As you kind of head over to looking at him, seeing his bunk, where he's kind of sat down, he seems to have a table set up with some cards being played amongst some of the other snowbeards that have set themselves up in this corner. One of the frost giants seems to be kind of laying down on the floor, slightly laying down on the floor, acting almost as a secondary table, as they have a couple of what looks to be glasses of thick dark ale, kind of sat off of it, as he has a barrel sitting on next to his bed. He looks up at you and goes, "Oh, Lord James, I heard the news. Clan leader James of the Ironheart.
Oh, well, traveled really fast to you.
Not really. The rough bloods are kind of loud and singing about it and I can hear them from the windows.
Well, that's one way to have word travel. Uh,
No, as he
aside from
looks
that,
over at one of his
you know the
men.
most about the men that joined with you, and you can parse through them well.
He nods
Were there
and
any smiths among them?
a few. Most of the men can repair tools. A few of them were apprentices. We've got a few master smiths amongst them. Most of
Find
them,
the
though.
masters and those apprentices.
He nods that and goes, "Sure, I can do that. You want a list or you want them in front of you?"
We're all gonna get to work. We're gonna be making sure we have a forge by the end of our time here, and we are going to be making a lot of tools to enrich the common life.
I can do that. I can do that. Do you want me to scope out amongst the rest of the men as well? I've got a list of them for those who can work.
Definitely, because with us keeping Fortress Hardhelm, we're going to be doing some major changes to it.
Nods and goes, "Well, I look forward to the years of working and backbreaking exhaustion."
Yeah, and I look forward to making sure that someone capable is in charge of it while I'm not there.
May that not be me, as he holds up his glass and his men laugh at that, and he takes it back as he sets down like a cigar and kind of spits out the last bit of the tobacco and his kind of gives his men an order to come to attention as as he starts going through the ranks.
For and James will head back towards his room for now, because I'm gonna have to find a place in the city where I can just build a forge.
Okay. All right. As James heads to his room, Sindra, what about yourself? You're still being followed by the Standerson. Standerson.
Well, unless I'm given orders by James, I can't do what I just talked about doing unless I'm being given several months of leave to go on a journey outside the city.
Yep, true.
And I can't confirm downtime just yet.
All right.
I'll check with James really quick before he walks off. Anything I need to do, or
Make sure the real Stan, knows what else to inform Greg of, and then I'd suggest starting to prepare for your trip. Once we
now
leave here and we land in the Frostbuster territories, I suggest you leave from there. You'll be
how
able to
much
reach a lot more smaller clans then.
how much do you want Greg to know?
The danger.
Just the danger? All right.
I mean, you can use your discretion outside of that, but
No, yeah.
having him owe me a little bit. because I'm
I'll just-
saving his ass is probably good at this
I'll head
point.
to ship and talk to him about it. Sure.
Okay. Um, as James kind of gives you this order, heading into his room, you're left kind of in the hallway. Sindra, what's the plan?
I'm off to stand ship.
All right. So you head up. We'll leave James for a moment as he begins to kind of work at the forge and start to kind of think out a plan for himself for a moment. Sindra, as you
James
head
is thinking how to mass produce.
right, Sindra, as you head up the top of up the ship, the other stand kind of follows along beside you. As you head over to the smaller ship parked beside or behind your own, heading up on deck, you see a few of the other stands kind of working amongst themselves. The one with the busted nose, clearly recognizing this as the actual stand, seems to be sitting at the helm in what looks to be a nice, kind of well-designed leather chair, and seems to be kind of talking to a few of his men as he is drinking on something. As he kind of sees you coming aboard, he waves over to you, seemingly kind of like almost cringing at the pain as he does so. After a few moments, kind of bringing his hand down as you head up towards him.
You sadly get used to it. I've been there.
He nods and goes, "Yeah, but normally my line of work doesn't mean getting beat up so much."
Neither did mine. I was supposed to be a support mage to enrich the life of people. Then, well, we've talked about what's happened to me before.
He nods and goes, "So, why do you have a fake member of my crew following you around, and why are you here to uh, chat with me? I assume it's not just to
Well,
enjoy the discussion of old injuries."
I cannot talk about nor confirm anything about the first, as I like pat myself down. However, you're welcome for making sure you got back.
He smiles at that, as a few teeth missing, and goes, "I do appreciate it."
Secondly, I hope your letters fly fast, because if they don't, well, Greg might be dead. Or his city.
Oh?
Who knows? How much do you know about spell circles?
Not much of a mage myself, so about as much as the average citizenry.
Eh, enough to understand that you need it to do mass spells. Yeah.
He nods.
So if I told you someone was making a multi-point magic circle with sacrifices to power it to charm the world, and one of them was centered in Greg's city, but hasn't been set up yet, seemingly.
I'd say that was impossible. The logistics you'd need to do that would take centuries to set up. I mean, hundreds of lives, I imagine, to make the magic work. You'd have to kill them all at the same time.
I nod when he says centuries. Yeah, centuries. Parts of the circle have already been discovered in a couple areas. I finished the shape of the circle on a map to at least somewhat figure out where, and it's kind of hard to pinpoint what is essentially an island for where one of the points is going to be.
He nods. And goes, interesting. Yeah, I can pass this on if you can point to it on a map or replicate the design.
You got a map of the world?
He nods and as he snaps his fingers and grimacing at it as he realizes one of his fingers is sprained as he feels the pain from it. Well, one of the workers or one of his employees kind of runs off and comes back out with a really cheap version of what looks to be a really roughly designed world map that's kind of rather long, and goes, "Roughly this."
Good enough. I'll remake the design. Like I'll circle each area they're going to be, and then I'll make the giant connection line between them all.
As you do this, he kind of looks it over. It takes a minute and goes, "Well, you mean it's a heart? But that's not a spell circle."
But it is a charm ritual of sorts.
I mean, it just seems. You'd think someone would have noticed it.
Well, I don't know about people before. Some people have.
No, one thing goes.
That's how I found out about it.
Strange. Okay.
Well, less strange when you realize some of the people doing this have been controlling certain world leaders. But It's neither here nor there.
Kind of takes that kind of note, kind of looks at you and nods and goes, "Okay, I think I can get this to Greg. I think I might let this go to the rest of my network as well to do some investigations."
I'll leave it to your discretion if you want to warn people like Fixie. I understand they're a bit volatile as a person.
My responsibility is to the crew and to the man I have sworn fealty. No one else.
Indeed.
He looks at you and kind of nods and goes, "But your information to Greg's Marathon will be passed on as requested."
That's all I ask. I'll try to dig in more if I can as well. Don't expect anything.
He nods and goes,
I have to make hefty deals to get this kind of info.
he nods at that with a slight grimace to it and goes, I feel that, truly. What are James's orders going forward? What's the plan?
Plan of what we're doing on mass?
On next steps, really.
Yes. We need to earn the trust of the Snowbeard lands as a whole. We're going to hopefully stop this point on the star from being dealt with, and just uniting the land to not die in the coming war. I'm sure you'll hear a job. You probably know more than we do about the coming conflict.
Kind of gives a light shrug and goes, maybe, maybe not.
As long as you know the broad strokes, it doesn't truly matter. We would rather benefits not let the Snowbeard lands fall because they are trying to fight amongst themselves. We're going to try and go on uniting the nobility, bring them together a bit to not let the nation fall and other nations fall as a consequence. We're going to start mass production to earn the love of the people within the next year.
James is a simple man, truly. But a simple plan is sometimes the best option.
It's also probably the best we have. We're very time-strapped.
That is true. Time is always our enemy, it seems. What James will do when we finally have time to breathe, I truly wonder.
Like a weapon that can fight God.
Yeah, probably.
As he kind of nods, as you kind of... Good.
I'm sure James will reach out to you if anything else, but as far as I know, that's the extent of your orders as it currently is.
He nods and goes, "Alright, I'll start finding sympathizers and spread the good word of the Ironheart's kindness and courteous and grand goods."
I'll nod.
As he
And
kind
I'll
of...
I'll say,
Good.
keep in touch if anything happens.
As you say this, kind of turning and walking off, the stand kind of stays there and kind of looks at you and kind of looks back at the other stand, and they seem to have a quiet conversation as you head off the ship, heading back over towards the other ship. As you
followed my... I explained nothing.
True. As you head back up, kind of heading onto the ship as you were, heading back down, looking about, James already being kind of handed a list of about 25 smiths amongst the crew that seem to be up to what he's looking for. As you kind of come down, seeing James sitting there, standing over what looks to be a simple dagger that's more like a training dagger that he's just been kind of working at to keep himself thinking.
Okay. Could rework this into a small sickle after this, but overall, we could use the same method for the coin that we did for the coins for some of the flatter blades. It'll increase speed.
As you showed this to the masters. Go ahead.
It'll damage the final product if it's too sloppy, so take care. It still needs to be hammered, and it still needs to be sharp.
As James kind of shows and demonstrates now slowly as he starts hammering away at the blade to show how to extend out the metal into a sickle, taking an old weapon to kind of shape it. As some of the smiths seem to start taking notes, writing things down as you push through Sintra, kind of moving throughout the crowd of very sweaty snowbeards and frost giants amongst them. As you get to the front and see James kind of finishing up his show and tell.
This is a out of character question. How
Yeah.
big can my room end up being if, as a workshop, if I were to have everyone leave and me open it and have it refocused just to be a forge?
You put a whole team to work into it. It is basically designed to go
So,
no bigger than a master bedroom, and is designed to only usually accommodate one person. You just have multiple tool sets because of how smithing works, so you can have workers at different like stations of it. But for short end of it, you can put 4 people in here working at a time at most.
Hammer and Forge can work almost around the clock. 2 of you will be working to assist them, or be working following them. However you wish to do it. Make some masterwork tools, and we'll enrich everyone's lives. As I
James
will
kind of
spot Syndra and
yeah.
go and point at the first 2 on the list. You 2 are up first.
As you do so, James, they kind of bow and kind of nod as the rest kind of grumble and dismiss themselves, heading out for food and to go rest. As the other 2 begin to follow Hammer and Forge as they start showing them how to work at it. Sindra, as you walk over towards James.
Yes?
He's been informed. He said he'll do his best. He also said he'll start spreading the good word of the company, of our goods, and that he'll start digging into things himself deeper to see if he can glean anything else that we need to know.
That's good. We'll probably have to meet with Drift soon and with Younger Junior soon. It might be good to send them off to go find specific things that we'll need. Secure supplies of metal and wood.
Well, time for you to... What's first? Your supplies, getting forges set up, spreading the good word, missions.
Well, honestly, once we have that letter, we should probably stop by Hardhelm and bring enough people to craft a few forges there.
Okay. All right. So as James begins to kind of sit and we kind of decide to plan to wait, as the party will wait for the next few hours. It will take a few days. This will give them some time to explore and get some downtime in. So we'll end here for today, as the party will be given. Well, James, roll me a d5. Let's see how lucky you are. It'll either be one
Every
day
time
or
you
5
say that.
days. No, go ahead. I'm just calling it now. 4 days. Alright, as the party will be waiting for 4 days for everything to die down, for the banditry of the army to be taken out, and for the letter to be able to be sent off. And with that, we thank you all for watching. We hope you enjoyed, and we'll either see you next time in the Frostbuster clan territory, or we'll rejoin as the party begins adventuring around the city of Runeshold and sees what kind of quests they have. Until then, take care.